Hello, hi, and welcome to EmpathicFire. I am your reader, Jay. This is going to be the Distillery reading for January 2021. Hi guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome to this video. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. If you're a new viewer, welcome. This is going to be a reading regarding a distilled message coming out of January 2021. I'll explain what's going on here before, well, I don't know. Yeah, I need to explain what's going on here. Um, Mercury retrograde is upon us. And I literally just talked about all these cards for about 40 minutes or so. And I went to edit and the video was corrupted. I tried to fix it. I Googled some stuff and no. So I'm re-recording this. So that's why this is laid out this way. If you're returning to the channel, you've seen this a few times before because I started it late in 2021. And so this is not normally how this reading would go. But because this message came out, it was super clear. I thought it was a good message for the collective. I need to re-record it. So everything is laid out already. I'll explain how we got to this layout right now for those who are unfamiliar. But if you don't want to see that part, check the description box. The timestamp is down there. If you want a personal reading with me, you can find the information on how to do that down below as well. And I'm not using it right now. I need to get back at it. But if you want to follow me on Instagram, all of that is in the description box. For those who are unaware, or those who are just curious how the hell this happened, I do 24 readings a month for the collective based on zodiac, and I'm tabulating at the end of every reading or at the end of every month which cards appeared most often. That's this top line here. I pull these cards out. I pulled them out about a week ago. I don't remember what they were, but these four at the top were the ones that appeared most often. These here that acted as clarifiers came from this extra pile here of those cards that appeared a lot, but not as frequently as the top line, okay? And that's the basis of what happened in January across all 24 videos, across all 12 zodiacs that I did on my channel, okay? And then these three came from this additional deck here, the Vanessa Tarot deck, and they were just further messages for the collective as a takeaway, again, a distilled message coming out of January 2021. So, everything was shuffled face down. I had no clue what was going to happen or what was going to come out, but this is the order that it came out. These are the ways that I clarified. And so I'm just going to, unfortunately, kind of have to recall what I said. This is going to be even more condensed than the 40 minutes that I was so proud of, guys. I was so excited to bring that message to you guys. I'm really upset because Mercury retrograde doesn't usually screw with my technology, but it showed up today. So let's just go ahead and go over this again. These are the four most appearing cards here. So King of Wands, Hierophant, Wheel of Fortune, and the Ten of Pentacles, okay? So fire sign energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Could be dealing with Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. You don't have to be. Hierophant energy, primary major arcana for Taurus, could be dealing, don't have to be. Wheel of Fortune, secondary for Sagittarius, also associated with the fixed sign, so Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. And then Ten of Pentacles. So what I said was, this is a big paraphrasing because it was just flowing. So what we have here is a strong-minded individual with the King of Wands, right? Could be you, could be someone that you're dealing with. It's all, take it with a grain of salt. It's a general collective reading, okay? Fire sign or not, male or not, no gender, no specific zodiacs. And they may or may not be coming into union with someone who's just as strong-minded, or an entity, an energy, a group of people who are just as strong-minded, who have a strong sense of convictions, a strong sense of morals or ethics, things like that. That's generally what the Hierophant entails, is like prescriptive ways of living, high expectations when it comes to situations and circumstances involving themselves and their congregation or their people. And I say congregation because what's featured on the card is this priest-like figure holding court or holding session with his monks or his disciples, something like that, okay? So again, this use of the word congregation. So King of Wands, independent-minded, very innovative, creative person, and has a clear vision for the future, for themselves at the very least, if not for others around them. But they can or cannot, it all depends on your storyline, be interested in unifying with the Hierophant. If they're interested in unifying, it feels very copacetic. It feels very like minds agree and like minds want to get to a similar goal or accomplish a similar thing. They share certain ideals of what the future should be, or ideals of what the circumstances that they work together in should be. This could be very personal in terms of family and friends, in terms of, it can come out in sort of, Jesus, here we go. It can come out in the form of a marriage, whether we're talking actual exchanging of vows or a marriage just as in terms of like just working together, whatever way you want to interpret it that way. Or it could be a business deal, or it could be, signing of contracts, things like that, okay? That's if it's coming together. If it's separating, which is very possible as well, this person no longer is in agreement with what the Hierophant is bringing to the table, with what the Hierophant stands for. There is now, in some cases, like a disillusionment or curiosity about what else is going on, or what else is the potential out there, what else can I experience in life, or what are the different opinions on this matter. The Hierophant can be very staunch, can be very rigid. Again, it's Taurian energy, or related to the energy of Taurus. Taurus is a fixed sign and it's earth, so that's like really, really, really sometimes a stubborn energy, okay? So that's sort of the relation that we're talking about. With the Wheel of Fortune coming out after it, we are generally talking about karmic lessons. Whether we take them on board, whether we're aware of them or not, it's happening. Okay, nothing stops the Wheel of Fortune. It's always turning in your life, in her life, in his life, in my life, everybody's lives, okay? And we can be aware and roll with those punches, whether they're fortunate and in our favor or not, right? Or we can stay unaware of them. It's really our individual choice. Regardless, there is this feeling, well, not even regardless, but to the point, it feels like, and I don't usually use this word, but I did use it before, now I'm going to repeat it now, destiny. I think destiny can be kind of cheesy, it can be kind of romantic, so I don't usually like to use that word, but it sort of is this feeling of what's meant to be will be, and there is no stopping it. Like I said, that's the innate power of the Wheel of Fortune. Nothing will stop it. It's always turning, whether it's turning super, super fast or super, super slow. If you're on the ascension side of it or you're on the descending side of it, that's all down to your individual path, your individual life, where you are in your path, where you are at in your life, where you are on your spiritual journey, whatever. And again, I think it's the integral part here is a karmic lesson. What your lesson is, his, hers, mine, I don't know. Well, I know my own lessons, but for anyone else, I don't know. That's up for you to understand, or anyone else in your situation to understand. But some, I'm telling you, will not understand. If you're watching this video, I think you're a little bit more open-minded, or at least a little bit more interested in what your karmic lessons could be. I'm not here to tell you what they are. You will find them out on your own through your own exploration and your own information seeking. But there will be people who you're dealing with, working with, living with, connected with, or disconnecting from, who do not know, and they don't want to know, and they will possibly never know. And maybe that is their destiny, their path, is to be ignorant, perhaps. Not judging them, but that is, in my opinion, some people's role in life, is to be ignorant. And I don't necessarily think that's good or bad, it's just the way it is, okay? But again, you don't have to agree with me, and it's not a judgment. It's literally just the way it is. So the Wheel of Fortune is here, right? And it's speaking again to this aspect of karma, a little bit of this idea of destiny, or what is to be shall be kind of thing. And with the Ten of Pentacles, that is sort of related because it represents this sort of this stronghold, or like this firm foundation that's built up on legacy. It's built up on tradition. It carries legacy. And that is reflected in either our personal lives amongst our family and friends. And I mentioned in the video that will forever be lost. It is also reflected to us in our society, or in the news, or in our global lens. I talked about what was going on and what has happened with that whole, I'm recording this in the last week of January, So this week it came out in the news that small investors did some did a number on Wall Street, right? They basically made themselves rich and defunct, or what do you call that? Whatever. They bankrupted. Why can't I think of that word? They bankrupted a hedge fund by playing the market and betting on or helping the price and the value of GameStop stock to rise, as a hedge fund, not just one, but many hedge funds and other investors, I'm assuming, were betting on GameStop going the way of the dodo, right? That was a change in fortune. Literally a change in fortune for personal people, the personal private investors with going through their app on their phone, and was a change of fortune for the hedge fund managers and their clients and all that kind of stuff, right? And it's not to say that they necessarily broke the bank of everybody on Wall Street. They certainly didn't, but they did impact the lives of some people and themselves, right? So that is an upset to legacy. That is an upset to tradition. It's tradition, quote unquote, tradition, that big old corporations and hedge funds and brokerages are the ones who are wheeling and dealing on Wall Street, and they're the ones that make these $1 million and $1 billion deals and profits and all that kind of stuff. And the little guy, again, quotes on that, the private citizen who doesn't go through a brokerage firm doesn't usually see that type of success on their own. They usually have to partner with a company, a service, to make themselves change, or to get themselves to change their fortune. But, so that again is just a reflection of what could be going on in your life personally, viewer, okay? So this idea that things are the way they are and that's how they're always going to be is being uprooted. And someone is either saying, that's great. Well, not that that's great, but like, they are walking that path. Something that they're deciding to do as an individual is upsetting the apple cart. Or, like I said, this could be the coming into and jumping aboard the apple cart and saying, this apple cart, it's upright, it looks good, I want to be a part of it, okay? So for those, again, where this is about coming together, it could be a King of Wands, literally, could be marrying into a family of money, right? Or a family of a certain tradition, of a certain conviction, of a certain status, whether that be specifically financially, or it could be other ways or other things that we value, right? We value more than just money on earth. We value time, energy, effort. We value resources. We value property. We also value each other. We also value human connection. So it could be someone who's been so strongly independent with the King of Wands coming into a family unit that they don't have to speak of on their own. I didn't say this before, but for dramatic effect, this could be someone who, for all intents and purposes, was orphaned at some point in their life, who doesn't have a family of their own to speak of, and so they get involved with a person, whether that be romantically or just as friends, or they work for a place that feels like family, and they become sort of enwrapped in cushioned. What is this? Like a hug. Like it's like warm and nice, and it's comfortable. That, okay, thank you. That's a part of the Ten of Pentacles too, being comfortable, right? And so that's for where it comes together. It feels great. It goes together. It meshes. Where it's not meshing and there's possible disconnection, it's like oil and water. It simply does not mix. And maybe it mixed for a while. Maybe at some point someone was very contented in a situation that I was just describing, where it feels like home, all the creature comforts are there, the money's there, the support is there, the resources are there, the moral value and the moral compass is aligned with your personal moral compass amongst your friends and family, and maybe now there's some divergence on that matter, right? And if that's the case, and that's how I led into clarifying this, because I clarified the Ten of Pentacles first, because I was just like, well, I just wanted to know more, like why is it here? Why is it important for the collective to know about the Ten of Pentacles? So that was clarified with the Five of Cups and the Nine of Pentacles, right? So it's disappointing. At some point, what was copacetic and what was traditional, what was comfortable, what was sort of the decorum in our lives, whether it's personal with family and friends, whether it's business, whether it's, our own reconciling with society at large or institutions within our society, because again, that would be represented by the Hierophant, hospitals, religion, government, things like that, school, education, these large bodies of power that represent certain expectations or prescriptive rules and regulations for us, right? Someone is no longer satisfied with that. Five of Cups to clarify the Ten of Pentacles. It's no longer what they thought it would be, or they've been they feel possibly very specifically disappointed by those institutions or individuals within those institutions, or just individuals that they know personally, right? So you could come from a family of money and suddenly you don't feel comfortable there. You could come from a family that has a certain moral background or religious background or whatever, and you're like, I kind of don't believe in those things anymore. As an independent individual, King of Wands, right? As an independently minded person, someone who has a certain degree of self-awareness or is developing a certain sense of self-awareness or identity, okay? So we have to disengage from that and step into a certain single-mindedness or singlehood, if this was literally about a marriage, which is true for some of you out here. This was a marriage, it is going to no longer be a marriage. That's not me wishing that. It's not me saying, I have no dog in anybody's fight. But that is literally what someone is seeing. It's like, it's no longer the union I thought it was. And I literally, or someone else, maybe it's you're receiving the news, viewer, they want a divorce. That's, again, it's not for everybody. But there is this turning towards singlehood or single-mindedness or independence, but doing so in some cases reluctantly, because again, it could have been a change of fortune, like I was saying about the hedge funds a moment ago, where some of those managers or some of those people who had those accounts, they're taking a loss. Your fortune, Ten of Pentacles, is being uprooted or shaken up a little bit. Now, from what I understand specifically of that news stories, I think they did bankrupt the hedge fund, but the hedge fund was bailed out by other hedge funds. And so maybe the collateral damage isn't so great, but I don't know specifically. But so there is possibly this walk away from, or this being pushed out of sort of the lap of luxury or this position of comfortability, but a quick rebound into being comfortable on your own, right? And again, some people are mourning this transition. Some people are not necessarily embracing it, or others are going into it very bittersweetly, right? So if this was leaving a marriage, it's not like, well, see you later, Steve, good luck with the rest of your life, or all right, Mary, I think this is over. I think I'm done with this. It's like, no, it's like, there probably will be tears. There's probably going to be this mourning of what you had and this reflection upon what you have, possibly dwelling on it, whether you leave it willingly or you're kind of pushed away from it, okay? There was so much, I feel like, not that there was so much more that I said, but I just like how I said it before, but I can't remember everything that I said. What else? Right. And if this was like a business relationship, this could be starting your own business. This could be, being pushed out of a family business, but starting your own company or starting up your own restaurant or something like that, whatever. And possibly just, again, like having this difficulty really getting over the disappointment of no longer having what you used to, the support of your friends and family, access to the resources. That's what I was talking about. Something like, if you willfully leave employment or a cushy situation, or you're pushed out of it, you sacrifice, you're relieved of having access to perks and resources, right? So if your company or where you worked gave you access to like a private jet, you don't get that access anymore, whether you willfully leave employment or whether you're fired. They both end up the same way. You're not going to get the keys to the private jet, so I guess you're taking an Uber wherever the hell you're going, right? So that adjustment is also here. It's an adjustment to being on your own. In whatever level we're talking about, however personal or public this is happening for you, or whoever viewer, I don't know. So that's kind of what that was, that's how the clarification went there, okay? And then I wanted to know more about the Wheel of Fortune, because at that time I had only really spoken about the karmic side of it, and I wanted to see more about that because, karma isn't necessarily always the easiest concept for us to digest, right? So we got Justice and Temperance to clarify it. Now at this point, all of these were not here. So I was clearly seeing Libra here, and then that was twice for Sagittarius. So again, Sagittarius could be a big figure in your life, as well as Taurus or a Libra, and generally fire sign energy. But again, it's, a general collective. If it doesn't work for you, if you're like, I'm an air or I'm a water sign, that's totally okay too. So to clarify the Wheel of Fortune, we got Justice and Temperance. So again, there's this balancing of the scales. Something is being set right for someone, right? And it might come at the expense, or at least that could be how we perceive it. It comes at the expense of another person. So somebody's ascension up on the quote unquote gaining or positive side of the Wheel of Fortune might come at the expense of someone's decline, or the negative side of the Wheel of Fortune, right? Whether or not you know that person personally, some of you do, others you don't know. Other people whose fortune is changing, you don't know them personally, but that's sort of the shifting of the energy, or I think I used the word exchange. Why did I use the word exchange? Maybe not exchange. I think I used the word exchange or transfer point or something like that. And that, again, ties back into the aspect of karma. At some point in your journey, excuse me, or someone else's journey, viewer, there was going to be this turning point. And in the midst of this turning point and all the rigmarole that it brings, all the difficulty it brings, all the joy it brings, whatever it brings, right? It's eventually meant to lead to a personal healing point. And again, it's all potential. It does not have to be. Or rather, how you react to it is not solidified. It's not written per se. You can face your karma reluctantly. You can face your karma totally ignorantly and not even have a total conception or iota of understanding about what karma is. Or you could willfully go into it aware, awake, and ready to learn the karmic lesson. It's all your individual choice, right? You, him, her, me, everybody. We all decide how we face our karma. Some of us face it blindly. Again, we don't know what's going on. We're very ignorant to it. We don't have any cognitive or conscious concept of it. And we might even fully reject any notion of it. That's our choice. Or we're fully aware of it. We're like, yes, I know this is a karmic lesson. And you bust out your notebook and you start taking notes because you're like, I don't want to do this again. Or okay, I was thinking it was coming. It's here. So I'm ready to take notes. I'm ready to learn. It's all up to the individual's choice, right? Regardless of how you or anyone else approaches the situation, it is a balancing of the scales. It's not tipping too far here and then raising this side up, and it's not doing the opposite. It's getting it to sort of like this equilibrium point. This, again, I think I said this word exchange or transfer, and I wish I understood or remembered in what context. And I think it's I guess I was linking it to how temperance is a point for us to heal, to reflect, to gain perspective in a matter, to essentially ascend in some type of way. And that all links back to, again, karmic lessons and taking it on board, whatever it means to you, whether you view it as good or bad karma, that's up to you. I don't view karma as good or bad. It just is, right? So I think that's how I was saying it, but I'm not 100% because I was in a flow. I'm really mad that video was corrupted. Anyway, so I think that's what's going on here. Now, again, if this is about union, it speaks again to doing this. That union, coming into union in terms of a marriage, coming into union as friends, possibly reconciling, or for the first time establishing close bonds with family members, whatever it is. It's copacetic. It feels like a wonderful adhesive bond. Like it feels really strong. And I feel like, I don't know, like what substances like are attracted to each other, but I guess it's sort of like magnets. It's just like, shoom, like, yes, this is where I'm supposed to be. It's like a glove fitting, or a hand fitting into a glove. It just feels right. And that's great. I don't really feel that side needs too much of an explanation. Mazel tov if it does lead to a marriage, or you yourself are being married. Congratulations. I hope it's a long lasting marriage for the rest. Whatever you want out of it, they and you. I hope it goes that route, right? So the connective side feels very positive. It feels very much. This is the possibly for a few of you. This is the relationship that will help heal you. It's not. Let me rephrase. It's the relationship that's going to assist you in healing yourself. Slight difference in that messaging, slight difference in the way I arrange those words. It's not going to heal you. It's not the relationship itself is like going to work on you like some medicine that you just pop in your mouth and it goes inside your body and it metabolizes and does all that stuff and you feel better within a couple of hours or a day or two or something like that. No, it's like you have to actively work with this relationship with your partner, with all the things that come into or come at you now that you're in union. You have to actively be a participant. You have to actively seek your own healing. Okay, there we go. You have to actively seek to do this work. If you don't, you'll miss it. It's not going to come through a process of osmosis, okay? So just a caveat there for those where this is a positive union, whether it be a marriage or a business relationship or friendship, whatever. You got to work at it to make it work. If you don't, it's not automatic. It's not autopilot, okay? Now, that speaks again specifically to those. That's how the healing works. You go into it, you're aware, you put in the work, you get the healing. Does the same thing if we're talking about a dissemination or a divorcing of energies or a divorcing of a relationship, okay? Again, whether it's romantic or friendship or business, whatever. Divorce, it's just separating. No longer together, no longer union, whichever type of union you have. The work is still the same, or the potential to get at the healing is the same. You have to go into it with this awareness, with this willingness and all that kind of stuff. And possibly for some, the union was what made you unwell. The union could have created a wounding, and it doesn't have to be, again, specifically a marriage, because the Ten of Pentacles is here, the Hierophant is here. That talks about communicative or communal energies. Right? So family relationships with our business partners, our coworkers, things like that. Relationships even with certain elements or areas of our society. Some of us are having a divorce with our political beliefs or our political system. Now, that's not me co-signing on anything. Let me go ahead and say right now, no. I don't support any radical bullshit. I don't support people going out and taking up arms and wanting to. No, that's crazy. That's not right. But what I mean is it's more a divorce in how we feel, right? How we think, and we're conscious of how our values are being represented across our societies. And let me go ahead and open this up, because it's not just American society that's going through this, okay? There have been riots, there have been demonstrations in almost every country on this earth over the last year for some reason or another, tied to current political environments where you live, regarding the conditions of life where you live, whatever. America's not the only one that's doing this stuff, okay? And that's not a blame. It's just to say we're all in this together. We are sharing a collective experience, whether we are aware of it or not. I don't know what you read or watch in the news, but I'm aware. Because I think it was the Netherlands was getting a little heated. And it's the Netherlands. Who imagines that the Netherlands is like setting fire to public property? I believe they did. Okay? So That's what I mean when I'm sensing this idea of divorce from your political system, or the political system of the family that you've grown up in, or the community that you've grown up in, whatever. And it's being rewritten, it's being rebalanced in whatever way that means to you, okay? Please reinterpret as you need to, okay? So that's how we clarified the Wheel of Fortune. And then, just as a takeaway, using the Vanessa Tarot deck, I asked again, what does the collective need to know? What is the distilled message out of January? What do they need to know going forward? What else can we get gleaming from the messages that we described above in the cards that we discussed above, right? So we get the Empress, Five of Cups, and the Eight of Pentacles. Empress then now makes 3 double confirmations, meaning Empress is secondary major for Taurus and Libra. So the Hierophant and Justice, that's Libra primary, and now both of theirs secondary have come out, okay? And then earlier we had Temperance and Wheel of Fortune for Sagittarius. So that's 3 signs that have been twice, have shown up twice in the reading. So if any of those 3 signs mean something to you, Mazel tov, again, that could act as some type of confirmation to you, some type of synchronicity to you, okay? So first what we have is someone who is, again, dissatisfied with the Empress energy, with the Five of Cups coming out right next to it. So the creature comforts, the lap of luxury, that languid, the Empress innately is taken care of. The Empress has created this sort of Garden of Eden for herself, something like that. And again, I say her only because there's a female on the card. There's no gender in this reading. It does not apply only to females, okay? So someone here comes from a life of luxury or comfort, if not luxury, comfort. You could be living, no offense to anybody, you could be living in a trailer park, and that is comfortable to you because that's what you've known. You feel at home there. You feel recognized there, whatever. Again, it's not about necessarily socioeconomic status. It's just about where you feel good, where you feel nurtured and taken care of, whether you've created that space for yourself or you were born into it or you married into it, whatever. And there's a disappointment with that, dissatisfaction with that. There's someone here who's not fulfilled, even though on paper and in the eyes of others around them, it's like, you got a good life. Someone's like, no, I don't really think I do. Or I don't feel that I do. I'm not happy here. I'm not happy with these conditions. And again, it doesn't have to be about your physical trappings. It doesn't have to be about your money. And it doesn't have to be about your family life. This could be, I'm not happy in my work life. This could be, I'm not happy with the way things are going in my society at large. I'm not happy with how this church is being led or the ways in which we're giving sermons to the community, whatever. There's just the way this is going, not a fan. That's the point. Five of Cups, right? So somebody, again, willfully or forcefully is being disconnected. Some, not everybody, some, all right? And that disconnection, that walk away, that being pushed away, that being rejected, that turning your back on, because I did mention earlier that the King of Wands, as you see, as he's sitting here on the table, his back is turned to the Hierophant. So there could just be a walk away from the conventions of the day, what is normal in your life or someone else's life, right? And again, it's possibly because this Five of Cups over here, the traditional depiction shows someone in a black cloak, so that indicates possibly being depressed, being sad, being lonely, feeling isolated, things like that. But also being sort of at the precipice of gaining something. Like someone stands to learn something if they embrace the darkness. Not saying sit in your depression, be Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh for the rest of your life. No, but there can be a great bit of knowledge learned through this dark phase, right? But anyway, there's a solo person on this depiction of the card, that traditional depiction. In the Vanessa Tarot deck, there's 2 people. So again, there's like this watchful eye of friends and family, or this reaction of just the general public. It's just like, oh my God, who would do that? And I mentioned at some point in that video that will be lost forever that we see that it's fictionalized, sometimes it's serialized, sometimes it's in the news, that people willfully give up their fortunes, walk away from a life that was basically accounted for. You would never have to work. You would never have to worry about money. You would never have to worry about where your next meal comes from, because it just becomes dissatisfactory to you for some reason, right? And I said, what did I say? Oh, I said, like, it's like someone suddenly wakes up and you're like, you know what? I'm just tired of having caviar for lunch. Like, I really just want to know what a tuna melt is all about. So I'm going to go out. I'm going to leave behind the mansion. I'm going to leave behind the private jet and all the private vehicles and all this other kind of stuff. And I'm just going to go down to the deli and get myself a tuna melt and see what it's all about. Right? That sounds crazy to many people, especially if they're not from that lifestyle, from that, that idea of luxury, that idea of being, well-to-do. They're like, what? You walked away from that? Many people do. Or they give it away. If they don't walk away from it, they give it away. And that could be what's going on here, right? Or again, like I said, in some cases, you're being forced away from it. You're being pushed out of it. You're being rejected from it. If this is a work situation, for some of you it is, this could be, hand in your resignation letter, Barbara. Or, sorry, Jimbo, you're fired. Whatever it is, right? And so you either willfully or forcefully have to walk away. Have to plot your own course. And doing so is going to eventually end up with a person being dedicated, being focused on what they can create for themselves. Eight of Pentacles here, which again would signal back to sort of how we're going to get to, if not, or how we establish the Nine of Pentacles for ourselves. We work at it. It's not given to us. We create it ourselves. Because again, you see this figure here, blowtorch in hand, hammer in hand, or whatever it is, and creating these pentacles, creating these, possibly, like I said, in the previous shoot that I did for this, that could be, getting into textile work, manufacturing. It doesn't have to be necessarily making tangible things, or like metal work, because I get workshop over here. This could be crafting something. This could be making, it could even be creative, like something like photography. It could be, finally pursuing your dream. Let's say that, because I didn't mention that before, but I feel I can talk about it now because it's here, but it wasn't like a huge message. No offense to to anyone who is resonating with the Hierophant energy, but the Hierophant energy does not usually foster or is not usually good ground for creativity, right? But I already said the King of Wands is creative. Even innately, the Empress is creative energy. So someone here could be coming from a family or a community of people that are known to be doctors and lawyers and engineers, and you're like, but I just want to be a photographer. And that is, in some people's estimation, not an admirable job or career. It's not profitable, or it's not easy to find employment. It doesn't, everybody's got a camera with them now. Why would we need photographers? And they don't necessarily appreciate all the nuanced skill involved in being a professional photographer. They don't know what you need to do in order to make it happen. They don't know the ways in which you can be very highly gainfully employed as a photographer. And again, I used this word earlier about karma. They could be very ignorant to someone else's journey, not only their own spiritual journey, but another person's spiritual journey. We come from a long line of doctors. How dare you, or where do you come off trying to say that you're going to be a photographer? La 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 la. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm sensing here, is like somebody is going to walk a journey alone, Five of Cups twice, to a certain degree. You might have a friend or two who sticks by your side, but I really do get people going, oh my God, I can't believe you're doing this. Like they not that they don't support you. It's more of like well, I guess you got to do what you got to do. They wish you well, but they're not necessarily going to walk that path with you, right? So you might have friends who sympathize. Again, I'm getting like this walking away from like a family that's well-to-do, that has a certain legacy and foundation behind them. And your friends are like, oh my God, yes, yes, girl, or yes, dude, go get your dreams. Go ahead. And they're like, hey, do you want to get your dreams next to me? What do you want to do? That's creative. Because the King of Wands is very much interested in being around people of like mind. That's why he and the Hierophant, I only say he because it's a king, it could be a woman. That's why the King of Wands at some point is just like cool with the Hierophant. Like, oh, you kind of have similar values to me. I'm good with that. And the King of Wands is always looking for that wherever they are, right? And so you might say to your friend, oh, what are your dreams? What do you want to do? Like your other trust fund, trust fund baby friend or whoever, your friend who lives at the trailer park across the way from you. What do you want to do? And I'm sorry to be like so stereotypical with the accent, but like, what do you want to do with your life? What dreams do you have? And they're like, I'm good. I'm cool. I'm going to stay here. So there's this realization that you can't take everybody with you. It's not their destiny, perhaps, to pursue their dreams, but it's your destiny to pursue yours. Does that make sense? All right, so that is the reading. Another 40 minutes. Worked myself right into lunch. Guys, I apologize for the hiccup on the first recording. I'm not going to do it for this one because you're probably watching it now. So anyway, if any of this resonated with you, if you liked anything here, please hit the like button. Feel free to leave a comment and let me know how this resonated with you regarding your journey, regarding what's going on in your life right about now. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please consider subscribing as well. Community continues to grow. I'm loving meeting new people, new clients. It's great. If you want to get at me for a personal reading, again, that information is in the description box below. For this specific reading, look for it at the end of February, either the last day of February or thereabouts is when this will come about. If you're interested in finding your own zodiac, I've created playlists for each year that I've been doing the channel, so feel free to peruse at your leisure, watch whatever you like. And also, if this is the first time you've seen this reading from me or any reading like this, tell me what you think of this. If you enjoyed it, if you got something out of it, if it's something that you want to see me continue to do, please let me know that information. I like doing it. I've seen a couple people say that they like it, so if you guys want it, I'll continue to do it, okay? But in general, guys, thank you so much for watching. Take care.